Introduction: the threshold of destiny. In 334 BCE, Alexander the Great stood at the edge of Europe, gazing across the narrow stretch of water known as the Hellespont, modern-day Dardanelles. This narrow channel separated Europe from Asia, and for Alexander, it marked the beginning of an audacious campaign. Behind him lay his homeland of Macedonia, secure under his rule, and ahead lay the vast and powerful Persian Empire, an empire that spanned 3 continents and had ruled over Asia for more than 200 years. Crossing the Hellespont was more than a strategic maneuver for Alexander. It was a symbolic act of courage and ambition. With this step, he would enter a world unfamiliar to his men, filled with new cultures, challenges, and possibilities. It was a crossing into history, a moment that would ignite a journey to create an empire unlike any before. The crossing, a sacred rite. As Alexander prepared to cross the Hellespont, he understood the significance of this moment. Ancient Greek tradition held that this strait was where the Trojan War had once taken place, and Alexander, who idolized the hero Achilles, felt a deep connection to this legendary past. To Alexander, crossing into Asia was a continuation of Homeric legend, a journey similar to that of the Greek heroes he had admired since childhood. In a highly symbolic gesture, Alexander performed rituals to honor the gods and the heroes of Troy. He sacrificed to Poseidon, the god of the sea, and made offerings to Athena, seeking divine favor for the journey ahead. Standing on the shore, Alexander threw a spear into the Asian soil upon landing, symbolizing his intent to take Asia by force. With this ceremonial act, he proclaimed Asia his new battlefield, declaring to his men, and perhaps to himself, that his destiny lay beyond the shores of Greece. Accompanied by approximately 30,000 infantry and 5,000 cavalry, Alexander crossed the Hellespont, officially beginning his campaign against Persia. For his men, it was both a leap into the unknown and an initiation into Alexander's vision of conquest and glory. The site of Troy, a pilgrimage to heroic roots. After crossing the Hellespont, Alexander made his way to the ancient ruins of Troy. This stop was more than a mere pause in the march. It was a pilgrimage to a place that embodied the Greek heroic legacy. At Troy, Alexander paid homage to Achilles, the legendary hero whose courage and prowess he sought to emulate. He visited the supposed tomb of Achilles, performing sacrifices and dedicating his own armor as a token of respect, receiving a shield and a set of weapons believed to have once belonged to Trojan warriors in return. This symbolic act was a powerful moment for Alexander. He saw himself as a new Achilles, a hero destined to achieve eternal glory. The visit to Troy was a way for him to publicly align himself with Greece's legendary past, framing his campaign as an extension of Greek honor and valor. By honoring Achilles, he also signaled to his men that their mission was not only one of conquest but a noble journey, a continuation of the Greek mythological tradition. The visit to Troy set the tone for the campaign. Alexander's troops, already loyal, were now inspired by the idea that they were on a historic quest. For Alexander, it was a deeply personal connection, a chance to walk in the footsteps of his hero and assert himself as a figure who would bring Greek culture, power, and legacy to Asia. The Persian challenge, a world in conflict. The Persian Empire under Darius III was a formidable adversary. Spanning from the Mediterranean to the Indus River, Persia was a well-organized, multi-ethnic empire with vast resources. However, Persia's recent struggles with internal dissent and unrest among its satraps, provincial governors, had weakened its control. Alexander saw this instability as an opportunity to fulfill his ambition of toppling the Persian Empire and uniting East and West under his rule. The Persians were initially skeptical of the young Macedonian king. At only 21 years old, Alexander was an untested ruler in their eyes. They did not perceive him as a serious threat, underestimating his military genius and the loyalty of his army. This underestimation would prove to be a critical mistake as Alexander's bold and rapid movements took them by surprise. Alexander's campaign into Asia Minor, modern-day Turkey, began with a series of victories over the Persian satraps, who, despite their efforts to halt his advance, were unprepared for the intensity and discipline of the Macedonian phalanx. His first major test, however, came at the Battle of the Granicus River. The Battle of the Granicus, a test of leadership. The Battle of the Granicus was Alexander's first large-scale engagement against the Persian forces. Fought near the Granicus River in May 334 BCE, this encounter was crucial in determining whether Alexander's campaign would succeed or fail. The Persian satraps had gathered a sizable force, including elite cavalry and Greek mercenaries. They positioned themselves on the eastern bank of the river, confident that the terrain and their numbers would give them the upper hand. Undeterred, Alexander took a bold approach. Despite the fast-moving current and the heavy resistance he anticipated on the opposite bank, he led his men in a direct assault across the river. Riding at the head of his companion cavalry, Alexander charged across the water, plunging into the heart of the Persian line. The fighting was fierce, with Macedonian and Persian soldiers locked in brutal combat amid the turbulent waters. At one point, Alexander's life was nearly ended by a Persian noble, Mithridates, who raised his sword to strike the young king. At the last moment, Clitus the Black, one of Alexander's trusted officers, intervened, saving his life and ensuring that the momentum of the battle stayed with the Macedonians. Inspired by their leader's bravery, Alexander's troops fought with renewed vigor, breaking through the Persian ranks and securing a decisive victory. The Battle of the Granicus was a watershed moment. It established Alexander's reputation as a fearless and capable leader and sent a powerful message to the Persians that he was not to be underestimated. The victory also allowed him to secure a foothold in Asia Minor, opening the door to further conquests. Consolidating Asia Minor, a strategic advance. With the Persian forces in disarray, Alexander moved quickly to consolidate his position in Asia Minor. He took city after city, from Sardis to Ephesus, incorporating each new territory into his expanding realm. Unlike many conquerors, Alexander treated his new subjects with respect, allowing them to retain their local customs and traditions. This strategy of integration won him loyalty among the local populations, who saw him not only as a conqueror but as a liberator from Persian rule. In each city, Alexander left behind a garrison and established local governments loyal to him, laying the groundwork for a stable administration. He also founded new cities, many of which he named Alexandria, serving as strategic military outposts and cultural centers where Greek and local customs would intermingle. These cities would become symbols of Hellenistic culture, blending Greek ideals with the rich diversity of Asia. Alexander's treatment of Asia Minor was emblematic of his broader vision. He sought not only to conquer but to integrate and unify, creating a world where Greek and Asian influences could coexist. This approach would define his campaign, setting the stage for a legacy that would reshape the ancient world. Conclusion: the first steps toward an empire. The crossing of the Hellespont was more than just a geographic transition. It marked Alexander's transformation from the king of a small Macedonian kingdom to the leader of an expanding empire. With each victory in Asia Minor, Alexander proved that his ambition was not mere bravado. He had a vision of a united world, one in which the culture, knowledge, and wealth of East and West could merge. The victories at the Granicus and his swift consolidation of Asia Minor marked the first steps on a path that would lead to his ultimate goal, the conquest of the Persian Empire. From this small crossing, Alexander launched a journey that would change the course of history, expanding the boundaries of the known world and laying the foundation for the Hellenistic age. For Alexander, the Hellespont was a gateway not only to Asia but to immortality. By taking that first step into Asia, he embarked on a path that would make him one of history's most enduring figures, a conqueror who sought not only land but